Hey Rabbits, it's Trixie, all Hannah Baker style today. Other 13 Reasons Why fans here. I just finished watching the series and I'm still traumatized. But it's a good series, it's awesome, just still sad and depressed. Anyway, today I want to try to answer the question whether or not it's easier for Germans to flirt with foreigners. What got me thinking about this question is that I never had a real German boyfriend, which is a bit weird because I'm German myself and most of the time I'm seeing Germans all around me. Still, instead, I got together with a French guy first, then a British guy, a French guy again, and finally a Venezuelan. How did this happen? I already spoke about this shortly in my collaboration video with Get Germanized and Vlog Dave. Dominic also agreed that he found it slightly easier to date girls from other countries rather than German girls. In today's episode, I want to try to cast some light on this question and try to figure out why we have this impression. Why could it be easier to get to know and start dating a foreigner rather than another German? On the first glance, not speaking the same language seems to be a huge disadvantage if you want to find out more about somebody, or even consider him or her a partner for life. The foreign language may appear like an obstacle, but is it really? Of course it can be. For people that are insecure about their English skills or simply don't like being restricted when trying to express themselves, getting to know a foreigner may fail because of the language issues. Personally, however, I consider speaking in a foreign language to somebody that you just met a huge advantage, given that your skills in that foreign language are sufficient to express yourself, express what you say, and also understand the other person. The thing is that in conversations like this, words don't have so much unnecessary weight. You don't get judged for a weird choice of words too quickly. The other person knows it's not your native language and that you didn't mean to sound stupid, strange, or impolite. It's just that you lacked a word. Also, if you're hesitant, there is not this awkward silence. The other person understands that you have to think about your sentences first, and therefore you have more time to come up with something to say. This is much different when you talk to somebody that comes from the same country as you. If I speak German to another German, I have no excuse for choosing an odd word or for taking too long to respond. I just seem awkward, nervous, and clumsy. Story of my life. For people like me that tend to overthink things and that are socially awkward anyway, even if there's no romantic relationship at stake, conversations in a foreign language always seem like a blessing. I guess all of this highly depends on your personality and also on your language skills. It's a matter of perfectionism and self-confidence as well. And of course it makes a difference whether the language that you communicate in is a foreign language to both conversation partners or just one of them. Let's say I meet somebody from the UK and we start speaking English together. That would be cool at first, but at some point I think I would start feeling frustrated, like it's unfair. I have to put so much effort into expressing myself, struggling to find the right words, and for him it's just his native language and he doesn't have to use his brain so much. In this case, I assume that the British guy would appreciate my attempts and maybe even find me cute for trying to speak English with him, but it would be a one-sided thing. I'd say that the language bonus works best when both conversation partners have to communicate in a foreign language. Like when Eric and I met at the company. A German and a Venezuelan suddenly communicating in English. It definitely added to our affection to see the other person try his best to express himself. And it also made us feel special. It means even though it's difficult to speak English, you are worth it. I'm interested in you. And one more thing, of course, accents can sound very cute and beautiful. I love listening to people speaking with an accent. Not only do I find it attractive, it also tells a story. A story about another culture, about traveling, risking something and seeking for an adventure. That sounds exciting, that sounds... Speaking about other cultures and adventures, that's another point. You will always have something to talk about. It's not this awkward small talk situation where you cannot think of anything interesting to say or appropriate to ask. Na, du auch hier? Schönes Wetter heute, nicht? Da kriegt man ja direkt Lust auf ein Eis. Welches ist denn deine Lieblingssorte? But that's maybe also just me, because I suck at the usual small talk. I'm sure you can always come up with something creative and original. I'm just not one of those people. My head gets completely empty when there is more than 3 seconds of awkward silence. And then I simply want to run away. So of course, speaking to somebody from another country makes it much easier for me. You have a head start. You can tackle the cultural aspects as well as the social or emotional ones. Where do you come from? What was it like there? Why did you move? And are you planning on staying here in Germany? How did your family handle your decision? Don't you miss them all the time? What do you do about it? What's the weirdest thing you noticed about Germans so far? Do you like the German food? What did you normally eat in your home country and how is it different from what we eat here? The weather, the food, the music, television, fashion, the political or economical situation. There is so much that you can ask. It's like socially awkward people heaven. And usually the other person enjoys sharing these stories. All the experiences, the struggles, the awesome moments. You will see him or her showing a lot of emotions. And that again is likable and relatable. You'll take to him or her very easily. And the other person will appreciate your interest and enthusiasm for his or her life situation. You too will feel understood and somewhat attached. And then there is this other sort of fascination. Maybe the other person's looks are different. Hair color, skin color, eye color, the general physique, the way that he or she dresses, smells, gestures, or smiles. All of that has this sensation of something exotic and exciting. And all of these exotic features may seem attractive to you. It's like tasting amazing food flavored with an unknown spice. And this feeling of the unknown makes you even more curious. Something that may also feel completely different to what you are used to is the flirting behavior itself. From my experience, the people from other countries, especially the warm and sunny places, are way more straightforward when they like somebody. I mean, the third question that Eric asked me was where I live and whether it was possible for him to move in. And even though I stuttered, I don't know, I have to ask my landlord about it, I kinda liked it. I found it cute. What I want to say is that this different approach, regardless whether it's more straightforward or more reserved, may feel refreshing to you. It's something new and unexpected that catches you off guard and that may feel good. So these have been a lot of things pointing towards the conclusion that flirting with foreigners is indeed easier. But that's just the tip of the iceberg, so let's roll back a little and talk about some downsides. I spoke about this feeling of curiosity towards the unknown already. Getting to know a foreigner does feel like an adventure, at least it did to me. And that's great, as long as you two want the same thing. Don't get me wrong, adventures are great and they may result in a healthy relationship. But what if at least one person is in for the adventure only? What if this person wants to move on after this exotic spirit faded? At some point you'll get used to the new things that you once found exciting. And if that bothers you, chances are high that you will part ways again. So what I'm trying to say is that when you're dating a foreigner, there's a higher risk that the search for an adventure may not result in a happy ever after situation. But of course that depends on both your attitudes. Also, if you don't get involved for the adventure part only, the cultural differences that you found oh so attractive at some point may become annoying and difficult to handle. Or completely new and bigger differences may pop up and you don't know how to deal with them. Certain attitudes, behavior, perspectives, or habits that you don't share at all. Then you truly have to ask yourself if you are okay with that, or if in the end the conclusion is that you two are too different. On the other hand, differences and harmless conflicts can also keep life and a relationship from becoming boring. Relationships are full of challenges every day, but with another culture involved, it's not the usual annoying stuff. It's conflicts that can feel eye-opening and grant you a new perspective on the things in your life, which is again a huge benefit, I would say. Also, the relationship can easily be spiced up again. By traveling together, visiting the other person's family, you'll always have a place to stay in this other country. You can always introduce each other to new things. New food, new music, new attitudes and thoughts. But speaking about each other's families and friends, it can also happen that they don't accept you or your partner. Every parent has a vision for the life of their son or daughter, and maybe this new partner doesn't match with what they thought. Stereotypes are everywhere, or maybe they secretly hope that the child would come back to their home country at some point. There are so many things that can just pop up out of nowhere. Also, going back to the language. You may have considered it cute and interesting to communicate in a foreign language in the beginning, but at some point It's getting frustrating. You simply miss speaking in your native language, especially when you want to discuss something crucial. Maybe you have to talk about your future together, or you have an argument, or you need to make an important decision. And if you then lack the right words, it just sucks. Then it depends on whether or not you're going to learn each other's native languages. Maybe one person does a better and quicker job than the other. In my case, Eric and I live in Germany and he barely speaks German, so I have to do all the office work. Read official letters, answer them, make important phone calls. I feel let down by him very often. And then there are my friends and my family that he can hardly speak with. Sometimes they are fine with speaking English with us, but other times it also annoys them a bit. And then at some point, subconsciously, we exclude him because he doesn't understand what we say. He cannot contribute to the conversations. So he is left out, and he chooses to be left out sometimes as well. At the same time, I cannot really blame him because I don't speak Spanish yet. However, carefully put, I would say that since we live in Germany and we're planning to stay here, him learning German has a higher priority than me learning Spanish. But you see, there's a lot of conflict material going on. He also misses his friends and his family, and I cannot make up for that. But let's make a cut here. This video is long enough and I think I shared the most important points with you. So is it easier for Germans to flirt with a foreigner? From my point of view, yes, given that you have these certain aspects of a personality that I mentioned before. But before you write this down in your important life lessons notebook, let me tell you it's not all unicorns and butterflies. Flirting and getting to know a foreigner may be simpler, but on the other hand, being in a relationship with one and maintaining this relationship may be a bit more difficult. So I guess in the end it's kinda evened out. But of course that's just my humble opinion, so what do you say? Have you ever dated a foreigner, and how was it different to dating a person from the country that you come from? Do you basically agree with my thoughts, or did I take a wrong turn at some point? I really hope that you enjoyed today's video. If so, please leave a thumbs up because that will make me really happy. Of course, as always, you can also follow me on Twitter, Instagram or Facebook, and here is a video that you should definitely check out as well. Subscribe to Don't Trust the Rabbit for more videos like this, and if you would like to support my channel even more, you can also find me on Patreon. I would appreciate your help so much. Now, Discount Hannah Baker wishes you all a very beautiful day. Check out my other videos if you'd like to, and hopefully we are gonna see each other in my next one. Bye!